Hi, welcome to Memory Chips Podcast. I am Ann Wyszynski, and I have a collection of potato chip bags from around the world. And every so often, I go through this collection, and a certain bag or bags will bring up memories of people, places, ideas, and I really want to share these with you. So if you please subscribe, you will never miss a bag. Happy anniversary, honey.
Thank you, dear. Happy anniversary to you.
Let's talk about the night we met.
Okay.
First, maybe you can tell me your name.
My name is Árni Guðmundsson.
And where are you from?
I'm half Icelandic, half Dutch, living in Sweden.
So when we met, you were living in Sweden.
Yes.
And I was living in Turkey, and that's where we met, in Istanbul.
Yes.
So can you tell the story of the night that we met, what you remember? Okay, so Árni said yes, that he would tell the story, but this was kind of a trick question on my part, because I know that even though we were both there, we have different versions of what happened. And I wanted to see how closely his telling of the story resembled mine. And I realized that because he was a visitor to a city that I lived in, that he couldn't be expected to know where we were, really, or the names of the streets or places. But I was curious to know how the timeline of events lined up with my perception. So he told it his way, and then I told it my way, and then I attempted to meld the two together, but without correcting each other or the bickering about which was the right version, which is something that most couples do after being married for 10 years. So I did it electronically. However, only I know the origin story of this episode's chosen potato chip bags, and you will find out about them at the end of the story. And there's a trigger warning. There is, unfortunately, the mention of physical violence and disturbing imagery in the following accounts.
Well, we met at the evening, at the end party of the art seminar.
And this was the first International Artist Initiative's Istanbul meeting. It was on the 6th of October in 2009.
We were at a terrace.
In an alleyway. It's a terrace, but it's not like a terrace that looks out over the city. It's in an alleyway with like graffiti. They have good food, and it's just a nice place where people with ideas come and hang out and talk.
Where we were with the whole group, we were drinking beers and celebrating the end of the seminar.
We went to our hangout. It's called Urban.
Then you read my terror cards, and that was quite amazing. I thought a little scary.
We had gone there with a huge group of people, so it was a bunch of artists and people from Turkey, Bulgaria, Sweden, Finland. So we were hanging out at Urban. I read your tarot cards, and your tarot cards there was going to be some sort of upheaval in your life.
And then after that we were finished, then everybody went home and we went to the big street there.
And then we went from Urban to a place called Peyote to go dancing. But when we showed up there at Peyote, Peyote was like an after hours dance club. And it was between Istiklal Caddesi and Tarlabaşı. And when that was kind of lame, the music was lame, and we decided to leave, and we were like, we can go back to my place and keep partying.
And you put everybody in a cab. And then I remember that you told that, no, you don't want to walk home alone to some of the people because this is a really dangerous neighborhood. And I thought that was kind of more because they were girls, that it was dangerous for girls. I didn't really see that it would be dangerous for me.
And it was me and you and Cristian and Stina. So we walked out of there, we walked to Tarlabaşı, which is sort of at that time of night it's a place where people go to pick up prostitutes, transvestite prostitutes, and also there's gambling that happens there, drug dealing, all sorts of things. It's kind of a little bit of a seedy place at that time of night. And all the people that were with us then, I said, you know what, this isn't good. They all wanted to walk back to the places where they were staying, which was mostly in Sultanahmet and Eminönü. And so I told the taxi where to bring them. I told them not to walk. A lot of people wanted to walk home. And I was like, no, it's dangerous. And then I got everybody in the taxi.
And then we ate a sandwich with intestines, which was really good, I thought. Bought some booze, and then we were going to party at your place together with Cristian Rieloff and Stina Pehrsdotter.
We went to the Tekel and bought rakı, and so that rakı is like the anisette liquor, and more beer and cigarettes, and I bought a balloon. I don't know why somebody was selling balloons at 3:00 in the morning, but it was a yellow Beauty and the Beast balloon, and it had helium in it, and the guy tied it around my wrist.
And then everybody had left, so we started walking.
And there's an underpass, so to walk under Tarlabaşı, the road that's kind of like a highway, you have to go down some stairs under the underpass and then curl up back into my neighborhood. So I had that balloon on my hand, on my wrist, and we were walking, and then all of a sudden this guy comes up and he's got his jacket over his hands so that you can't see it, so he's kind of holding it like a tray, so that's like the pickpocket position, and he just kept saying 10 lira, 10 lira, 10 lira, 10 lira. He wanted to sell his coat for 10 lira.
And then this little guy came up to me and with a jacket over his hands, and he wanted to sell me the jacket, but that was not his. I don't think that was his goal. He wanted to pickpocket me, and I kind of got that immediately, and so I told him that I was not interested, and I was nice and polite to him. Then he kept coming back, and he came back, and then like the fourth time I told him, the next time you come back to me, I'm not going to be nice to you. And then the guy came back. Then I took him and tossed him in some kind of a collapsed house, but it was dirt, so he flew there. And then we walked under the underpass, and we had the flu, because it was pitch dark there, and I see nothing in the dark. I'm totally night blind. But we came out on the other side, and everything was fine. But then on the other side, all of a sudden, several guys were there.
But he also wanted to pick our pockets, and we all had computer bags with like laptops in them because we were coming back from this conference, and it was just the one guy. But so this guy was just kind of a wiry, small dude. And I remember us being ridiculous. Like I had the balloon, we were yelling underneath the underpass, pretty much drawing attention to ourselves when the guy came up. We walked out the other side and he kept following us, and I kept saying, go away, we don't want your jacket, and leave us alone, and blah, blah, blah. And then at some point we rounded a corner into my neighborhood.
And the guy was with his friends. And then they started a little bit heckling us, we went into the left after the underpass, and then I got a little tougher the longer it went, and then in the end you pushed one guy. You told him to leave us alone and go away, and kicked him in the balls. And the guy came up a good 10 centimeters from the floor, from the ground. And then me and my friend Cristian, we looked at each other, and I told Cristian, he didn't even blink. And the guy didn't even blink. He didn't even bend through his knees. And we went like, whoa. He was not big, but that was kind of incredible. And then Cristian said to me, you know what happens now? I said, yes, I think so. And then we have to fight.
And all of a sudden, he did like a whoop, like a whistle, and like 4 other guys came and descended on us. This guy just wouldn't leave me alone, and he lunged at me, and I just kicked him so hard in the balls that he came up off of his feet, like his feet left the asphalt, and I had a giant lump on my shin, like it killed my shin because my shin hit his pubic bone.
But then we walked away, and then Stina had her computer bag, and she walked away, and then one of the guys tried to steal her bag, and then I took him. He jumped on her back, and I took him and I tossed him away. And after that, I kind of don't really remember that much more than that I was fighting with a guy. I thought I was fighting with one guy, and the guy was really incredibly fast, and I was punching and kicking and getting lots of punches in my face. And then I saw just fragments, and then I saw a strange movement, and then I was carrying the booze in a plastic bag, and I kind of protected myself with that, and then I kicked a little bit more, and I punched a little bit more, and then I got kind of fed up, and then I hit the bag with the bottles. I hit that on one of the guy's head, and then kind of.
Then right then it was like chaos, and it was like scuffle, 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 scuffle. And I turned around, and we were in the corner. There was like a corner, and there were cars parked there, even though it was like a tiny little road, like alley, and had 2 cars parked on the corner. And then my apartment was about 100 meters away downhill, and we just started fighting. It was like everybody and 2 guys trapped you behind the car, and you were holding that bag full of the beer and the raka, and you were like swinging it at their heads and trying to fight them off. And I remember at some point your cell phone and your glasses fell off.
Oh yeah, I lost my cell phone.
Yeah, you lost your cell phone and your glasses.
Everything, the guys ran away. I don't know what other people did, but I saw Cristian, and I was like, whoa, they're running away. And then I said, wow, I started laughing, and said, wow, well, okay, we survived this, and was kind of happy. And then I felt my hand was wet, so I said to Cristian, I said like, that was incredible. A little proud, of course, but I think I have a little problem, I said. And he said, what happened? I said, I have a problem with, my hand is soaking wet.
I turned around and looked at you, and you were still holding the bag. It was like full of like broken glass, and you had, there was blood everywhere, and it was just like it was every time your heart beat, it was just flying. And I looked down, and I had blood all over my jacket, and all over my face and in my hair. And then when I got shocked by it, then all the guys also saw it and they got shocked and they all ran away.
And I said, let me see. Let's not look at this for a little while. Let's just celebrate a little bit that we did win this. Then he grabbed my hand, and then there was just blood pumping out of it like crazy. And he you idiot, you're bleeding to death, you moron. And then you started yelling. That's also a thing I remember.
And then at that point, we kind of like picked ourselves up and like scuffled down the 100 meters to my place. And that's when I was like, oh, I can yell for my neighbors. Like I didn't yell for help. And also in my neighborhood, there were always people on the street. There was never a point in the middle of the night ever when I lived there. I lived there for years, and there was never a moment when there was not somebody on the street. So it was really odd that there was nobody there. Went to call for help instead of just saying imdat, which is like help, or, it's just like emergency. But I didn't say that. I was trying to think of what to say in Turkish. And so the thing that came up was, my esteemed neighbors, please come to my aid, if you would.
You yelled in Turkish something, and I have no idea what, but I guessed you were yelling for help. And then we came to your home. I had the feeling you ran up to get towels because Cristian wanted to have towels. And then Cristian did tie me up very professionally, and then all of a sudden these guys came back.
You were passing out. You were losing blood, and you were feeling faint. And Stina was trying to hold you up, and you were passing out. And then they came back. These guys came back. We had and they had the bottle. They had taken the bag of alcohol. They had the bottles with them, and they came back and started throwing the bottles at us. And one hit Cristian in the head, and the other one hit me in the back of the head.
And I was like feeling really like a wimp because I was half fainting, and then Cristian jumped in, and I look behind the wall and I see this guy throw a bottle, and I just instinctively I knew that bottle was going to hit Cristian in the head, and I thought he would go knock out. You heard really bang, and I thought he would faint, and then instead of that he fainted, he turned into some kind of monster that started yelling, and then the guys got scared, but then the neighbors started coming out, and I was Stina was holding me up against the wall, and I said, I have to go back in, I could hardly stand on my feet, and then she said, you're not going anywhere, you moron, you're really seriously injured. And no, let me go. But I could not. And then the neighbors came out, and then the guys disappeared, and Cristian came back with a bleeding forehead, and then it was talk. Then I actually don't know anything more than all of a sudden there was a taxi in front of me, and I was shoved in there and driven to a hospital, and where I was wheeled into some kind of an emergency room and met a doctor, a very nice guy, spoke beautiful English, the beautiful English. And I asked him I told him there is no big problem, just sew me up and I will take care of this at home. And he said to me, no, sir, it's not that simple. I have to do surgery on you. And I said, no, look, I can still move my fingers. And then he said, can you do this? and I was doing it and nothing happened. Can you do this? And then I was doing that and nothing happened. And then you need surgery. And then he disappeared. And apparently then Cristian came in and he said, let me see how that looks. And then he said to me, and then we started laughing. He said, you look like Robocop. Can you not just go in there with your finger and do a little zzz and fix it? And I said, I didn't even dare to look. So I just, how do you call it? I just was laying there.
If I remember correctly. And then we got to the hospital and they checked Árni in and they were like, what's his name? And where does he live? What's his address? And I didn't know him. Like, I didn't know anything about him. I was just like, I don't know. I just met him. They thought I was nuts. And they were like, okay, well, does he have insurance? And I said, I don't know. And then they Stina and Cristian knew like your name and your address and all that stuff. So they helped me with that. But the intake people didn't speak any English. And I think that somebody spoke German, like Stina spoke German, but we thought, well, it's a German hospital. Maybe they speak German, but they didn't. And then, so I had to do it in Turkish, but I was drunk and traumatized. And so finally they told me, well, you know, we sat there waiting. And then the doctor came out and they said, well, he needs surgery and we need to have a deposit of 5,000 euros in order for us to do this. And they were, you know, we need a credit card so that we can put a hold on it. And I had to put a hold. I had to give them my credit card for this guy I didn't even know.
So, and then all the police started coming in, and then I was like, I was kind of out of it after that. You came in, you were the interpreter, you talked to the police, and you were nice, and we kind of partied in. I had this beautiful suite in the hospital. That was, I mean, we lived in half a youth hostel, and I got my own bathroom and nurses coming and what more, and TV, my own TV, and there were riots there.
Yeah.
Because it was the big meeting of the IMF. And
so the whole neighborhood was
tear gassed. And what more, then we just talked, and then
that night they couldn't do the surgery because you had been drinking. So you had to spend the night in there and wait till the alcohol, you know, got out of your system. So they said that we could go up to your room. So me and Stina and Cristian went up to your room, but one of the reasons why we had to go up there was because the police had to keep coming in order for the Swedish insurance to pay for the surgery and pay for the hospital stay, you had to make a police report. And so the police didn't speak English or anything. So I'm in there telling them in Turkish what happened. So that might also be another reason why I kind of maybe remembered a little bit more, because I had to tell the story a million times to like every police jurisdiction that came in there, because first they couldn't decide where it happened. They couldn't decide which police station had jurisdiction over the area because it's between a bunch of different police stations, and they kept coming in and taking my statement, but because I was, you know, just so out of it, I couldn't speak. I could only write. So I was like, we'd start speaking Turkish and they'd get frustrated with me, and I said, can you just hand me a piece of paper? And then I would write down what happened in Turkish, and they were like, there's something weird here. Like, she can write in Turkish, but she can't speak it. And I tried to explain it to them. It's just because I learned Turkish in school. So then I remember we're just hanging out in there, and Árni was laying in the bed in his hospital gown, and I remember thinking that he had really nice legs. But that was pretty much the extent of the any kind of romantic ideas.
Then after a while I asked you to leave because I had to sleep. I was just like, things started to sink in a little bit, I think. That I was injured and that it might be serious. And then you left, and then I saw you the next day again. After my surgery, I think, or
yeah, after the surgery, and then we had a celebratory dinner.
Then you invited me and Cristian and Mehmet for a dinner.
The next day after his surgery, we begged the doctor to let him go out to have like a kurban, like a celebration of our good luck with Mehmet, who ended up coming with me the next day to the police department and actually telling them the story like from a Turkish man's perspective so they didn't think that I was nuts. So Mehmet really helped us try to clear up the whole thing so that we could get the Swedish insurance to release my deposit on your surgery. And so we wanted to thank Mehmet for his help and just celebrate that we made it through there. So we went to Hamdi, which is a kebab place in Eminönü, which is always a great place to celebrate.
And the next morning, you came, was it 2 days? I had to stay for 2 days in the hospital, yeah. And then after that, you came, we went to our youth hostel. We said goodbye, we went to our youth hostel, picked up our stuff, and went straight to the airport. We were just like, let's get the hell out of here before something else goes wrong.
Yeah, and then the next day, I met you at the hospital to get my security deposit back. And while I was waiting to get my security deposit back and to talk to the doctor, I was hanging out in the kind of snack bar cafe in the cafeteria in the hospital, and I bought some potato chips there. And so these are the bags of potato chips that I bought. 2 of them are potato chips, and the other one are just called potato sticks. They're called, but so the first one is Party Brand ketchup flavor.
Yep.
So it's Party Brand ketchup flavor. That was one. But I think it's funny because it's like blood. So there's a potato chip with a ketchup bottle squirting on it with like a big pool of blood. So I really like this because it reminds me of the blood squirting from your hand, RoboCop arm.
Yep.
So that's the party ketchup flavor. And then I have Ruffles spicy red pepper potato chips, and that's the spicy ones. And then the other one is not really potato chips, it's Patos spicy sticks. So it's red pepper. This is another one that's red pepper. So they're all red, they're all bloody, just like your hand. And I remember saying goodbye to you and Cristian as you drove off in the taxi.
Yep.
And that was it. That was the start. Quite a start. It was worth it though, right?
Yeah, totally.
Thanks for listening, and if you have any questions or comments about what you heard today, please post them to the review section of your podcast player. So if you use Apple Podcasts, you click on the show thumbnail and scroll down to leave a review. And then whatever happens after that is up to you, but hopefully it's nice. You can also leave posts on Instagram at @MemoryChipsPodcast.